For a while now, I've been thinking about upgrading my office setup, as I only have a single 24-inch monitor that I bought all the way back in 2016. Over the Christmas holidays, I almost pulled the trigger on a Samsung 34-inch curved ultra-wide monitor, but then I thought, if I'm going to be spending £450 on this, why don't I just buy a MetaQuest 3 and then I can have pretty much any size monitor that I want. And that's exactly what I did. Hello, I'm Chris Patel. I've been a software engineer for 15 years, and in this video I'm going to go over exactly what it's like coding on a MetaQuest 3. So before I start, let me preface this by saying that I've never owned a VR headset before. I have used them in the past, but you could probably say that my total VR time before I bought this headset was less than 1 hour. So I'm basically a VR virgin.
I'm a virgin.
Just so you know exactly what angle I'm coming into this video at. So starting off with this headset, it is very comfortable to wear. It's very light. It's only 515 grams, which is actually very light for one of these. It's fine to wear for long periods of time. I didn't have any issues with that. Although before I bought it, I did read a lot of comments saying that the head strap it comes with is not very good, and that is true. You can buy third-party head straps, which I probably would look at doing, but having already sunk £450 into this, you know, a big fair old chunk of money, then I think that's just going to have to wait for me. So into the coding. Now there's a few ways in which you can connect your PC or laptop to the Quest headset. The first is to use something called Quest Link. You'll need to download the Quest app on your PC and then connect the headset via a cable plugged into a USB 3 port. Once you've done that, you'll just need to go to the Quest Link app on the headset and the two should sync automatically. If it doesn't, just check that Quest Link is turned on in the settings. It might not be, but it should be. And there you have it. The output of my PC is rendered in this virtual environment. So the big problem with using this method, well, there's two actually. The first is that you can't see your keyboard or your mouse. So unless you're good at touch typing, then that is quite a big issue. I thought I could touch type before using this, but clearly I cannot, because there were periods where I just spent quite a while trying to find the right key. I think maybe, even though you're not looking at your keyboard, just being able to see it in the edges of your vision is, you know, does help a lot. Meta Workrooms does handle this problem pretty well by letting you enable pass-through for a portion of your desk so you can see your keyboard, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. Second problem is that you cannot seem to change the background. So I was just placed in an endlessly white room, which honestly gave me a bit of a headache after a while. You could say that VR is bleeding edge tech, so there are still a lot of things that just haven't seemed to have been implemented yet, but it is updating all the time. Literally every 2 or 3 days the headset performs a software update, so hopefully you'll have the ability to change that in the near future. Right, moving on to Virtual Desktop. Now this is a really good application. You do have to buy it, but I managed to pick it up for under £10. Once it's installed on the headset, you also need to once again install a desktop app. This one's called Virtual Desktop Streamer. After that's installed, you just enter your Meta username, and then the two should once again just pair automatically. Now this app is a lot better because it lets you pick the environment that you're in, and it's actually really cool experiencing this for the first time. So my favourite is called the gaming room. In fact, this is how I like my real office to look. So yeah, basically this is rendering the output of my PC in this virtual environment. I can do everything I would normally do: write code, edit a video, browse the web. You can also change the environment. There's quite a few to choose from. There's a cinema, which would be great for watching Netflix or YouTube. I mean, why do you want to go to a real cinema when you can just experience the same thing at home? There's apartment-style buildings. I don't know if this one is modelled on a real city, but it's pretty cool how you can see the traffic moving on the roads outside. Definitely makes for a very immersive experience. Now you might be thinking, Chris, why do you need to work in a virtual space when you can just work in a real one? Well, I guess not everyone has the ability to control the environment that they're in. You know, we don't all live in an apartment building looking over Central Park, or on the coast looking over the ocean. And the space that we're working in does have a very big effect on our mood and ultimately our productivity. So being able to control this and change it with just a single click of the button is, in my opinion, a very powerful tool. I do wish you could customize it and create your own environment, but it doesn't have that feature. Hopefully, maybe in the near future it will do. I did experience some latency, especially when streaming video, but I think that's because my office is located at the opposite end of my house to my router, so the Wi-Fi signal isn't that great here. I'm sure if I was to move it closer or have a wired connection, then those issues would pretty much disappear. On the requirements page for Virtual Desktop, it does say that you must have a wired Ethernet connection to your router. So I was a bit worried that it wouldn't work, but it does still work wirelessly. It just probably doesn't. You probably just don't get optimal performance. Okay, so that's Virtual Desktop. The final option is Meta Workrooms, which I did have high hopes for, but try it as hard as I could. I just could not seem to get this working. For a start, you had to sign up to this, I think, and no matter how many times I tried on different days. It wasn't just one time. It just kept coming up with this error saying something went wrong. Plus, when I opened the Workrooms app on the headset, I just got a blank screen. So that was pretty disappointing. You know, if Meta wants to make this the future of work, at least the Workrooms app should be functioning. So after having spent a couple of weeks coding in VR and trying it out, I do think that it's not something I would be doing every day. There's just too many small little flaws. The first being that, yeah, I can't see my keyboard. That's quite a big issue for me. I probably could get around it if I spent enough time practicing, but there's kind of just too much friction there for me. If Virtual Desktop could get to the point where it could render a virtual version on my keyboard and mouse on the screen, I think that would be fine. And the hand tracking is pretty good in the Quest. I think you could do that. I could, be able to see my hands pressing individual keys. I was kind of hoping that when I bought this headset, whenever I put it on, I'd be able to just shut off from the outside world and get a couple of hours of deep focused working every day, but at the moment it's just not been possible. I am, though, however, really excited about the future of VR, and even though I won't be buying one, I'm looking forward to when the Apple Vision comes out next month, just to hear about how good that is. I think that will probably fix quite a lot of the issues I had with the Quest 3. And it has made me think that in maybe 5 or 10 years' time, I think we're all going to be using AR or VR in some form in our personal lives and also in our jobs. If you're a skeptic to VR, I'd urge you just to try it out. It has been a fantastic experience, even though it's not been perfect. So that about wraps up this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and please consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.